Welcome back, dear students. Today we shall be discussing about decision making under risk, and within this we will be discussing about expected opportunity loss criteria. Up till now, we have discussed the basic concept of decision theory. We also discussed about the different decision making environment, and we have been discussing the environments one by one in detail. So up till now we have discussed about decision making under certainty. Then we also discussed about decision making under uncertainty, within which we discussed about the five different criteria which we use for taking decision under uncertainty, and those criteria included the criteria of pessimism, criteria of optimism, the Savage criteria, the uh, Hurwitz criteria, and Laplace criteria. And we have also discussed about the expected monetary value criteria under the decision making under risk. Today we will continue, and we shall discuss about the expected opportunity loss criteria, which is part of decision making under. We have already discussed that when we take decision under the risk, we have the information about the different decision alternatives available and the states of nature or event associated with those alternatives, and we also know the probability of the different states of nature. Under such a condition, we can use one of the two criteria to take the decision. The first criteria was expected monetary value criteria, or EMV criteria, which we have already discussed in the previous video lecture. And today we shall discuss about the second criteria, that is expected opportunity loss criteria. So let us understand the working rule for using this expected opportunity loss criteria. In the first step, what we do is we construct a payoff table which comprises of all alternative decisions, states of nature, payoff corresponding to the combination of alternatives and states of nature. We enter the probability associated with each state of nature. All this information is available to us. We know what are the different alternatives. We know the states of nature associated with those alternatives. We also know the probabilities associated with each state of nature, and we also know the payoff, or we are given uh, some parameters or criteria based on which we can calculate the payoff. So if we have already been given the payoff, using that payoff we will construct a payoff table, or if we are not given the payoff directly and some information is given using which we can calculate the payoff, then we will calculate the payoff, and then we will put all these informations in a table. So we will construct a payoff table, and then in the second step what we will do is we will locate the maximum payoff for each event. For all the different events we will see what is the maximum payoff, and we will make a separate column or row, where uh, we will enter these maximum payoff. Then in the next step what we will do is we will determine the conditional opportunity loss value for each event and alternative decision combination. We will calculate the uh, conditional opportunity loss. We have found the maximum payoff. We have already constructed the payoff table. So we will, using these two informations, the payoff values and the maximum payoff value for any particular event and alternative combination, we will calculate the conditional opportunity loss value. And this is calculated using this formula. The Suppose we are calculating the conditional opportunity loss value for ith alternative, then when jth event occurs, then it is given by ith conditional opportunity loss is equal to maximum payoff minus payoff for the ith alternative. For the jth event, if payoff represents profit, and if the payoff represents cost, then what we will do is we will take the cost of ith alternative and we will reduce the minimum cost. In that case, if we are dealing with the cost related problem, then like here in this case we have located the maximum payoff. In that case we will be locating the minimum cost value. So we will subtract this minimum cost value from the cost of ith alternative for jth event if payoff represent cost. And then in the next step we will calculate the expected opportunity loss for each decision alternative by adding the product of the probabilities of each state of nature with the corresponding conditional opportunity loss value for that alternative. Now let us understand this with the help of an example. It will be more clear with the help of an example. So this is our example. Under an employment promotional program, this is not and rather it is under an employment promotion program, it is proposed to allow sale of newspapers on buses during off-peak hour. The vendor can purchase the papers at a special concessional rate of 25 paise and sell it for 50 paise a piece. Any unsold copy is a dead loss. A vendor has estimated the following probabilities for the number of copies demanded. Now, a situation has been given where some employment promotion program has been launched, and under that program it is proposed to allow sale of newspapers on buses during off-peak hour. And the vendor who will be selling these papers on the buses during off-peak hour, he or she can purchase the papers at a special concessional rate of 25 paise. That means the cost price of the papers will be 25 paise per piece and sell it for 40 paise a piece. Selling price of the papers will be 40 paise. So the vendor is purchasing it at 25 paise and selling it at 40 paise. Any unsold copy is a dead loss. If he is not able to sell any particular copy on that day, that becomes a dead loss. That means there is no scrap value for that newspaper. It becomes useless. There is no value of the remaining newspaper which he is not able to sell on that particular day. Then a vendor has estimated the following probabilities for the number of copies demanded. This is the demand schedule or expected demand for the different number of copies along with the probabilities. The probabilities are also known. Like I have told you in the beginning that when we are dealing with the problem of decision making under risk, we know the alternatives, we know the states of nature, and we know the corresponding probabilities. So these are the uh, different states of nature. These are the demands which are given in a particular day. The probability of demand being 15 copies is 0.04. Probability of demand being 16 copy is 0.19. Probability of demand being 17 copies is 0.33. And probability of demand being 18 copies is 0.26. Probability of demand being 19 copies is 0.11. And probability of demand being 20 copies is 0.07. Now we have to prepare a payoff table and find out how many copies should be ordered so that his expected profit will be a maximum. We have to calculate, we have to take a decision that how many copies should be ordered by the vendor so that he can earn the maximum profit. So let us see how we can solve this. First of all, let us list down the given information. It is given that the cost price is 25 paise per piece and selling price is 40 paise per piece. So we can find out the profit per piece, which is selling price minus cost price, is equal to 40 minus 25 is equal to 15 paise per piece. This is the profit per piece. Now the conditional payoff or conditional profit on one piece is 15 into stock when demand is greater than a stock. Now since if he is not able to sell the paper on a particular day, then he that remaining paper is going to be a dead loss. So we can calculate the conditional payoff by using these two formula. There could be two situations: either the stock which he has purchased is greater than the demand, or in the second case the demand is greater than the stock. That means uh, the demand is more than the number of papers purchased by the vendor. This is one condition. So if it so happens that the demand is greater than the stock, in that case, since he is earning 15 paise profit on one newspaper and this is stock is this demand is greater than the stock, that means whatever stock he has, he will be able to sell it. So in that case, all his stock will be sold, and he on one newspaper he is earning 15 paise. So if the 15 paise multiplied by number of papers he has in stock will give us the conditional profit. Then the second condition is when demand is less than the stock. That means uh, there will be some newspapers left which will not be sold. Some unsold papers will be left. That means uh, whatever he has purchased for selling, the number of papers he has purchased for selling, all those papers will not be sold because the demand is less than his stock. So some of the papers will be left, which is unsold. Then here, whatever he has sold, that number multiplied by 40, because this is the selling price. So this much he is going to generate as a revenue. His revenue will be 40 multiplied by the number of copies which are sold on that day. That is equal to the demand on a particular day. So 40 into demand will be the revenue. From this we will subtract his cost. His cost will be number of papers he has purchased into 25, because cost of one paper is 25 paise. So number of papers he has purchased as a stock multiplied by 25 is the cost value, and 40 into demand. 40 is the selling price. Demand is the number of copies he will be able to sell on that particular day. So this is his revenue and this is his cost. So difference of these two will give the conditional profit and conditional payoff or conditional profit. And this will happen when demand is less than the stock. So using this formula, we can calculate the payoff for the vendor on different days. So let us prepare the payoff table, conditional payoff table. Now suppose these are the different possible stock labels. The demands are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. These 6 demand labels can be there. Possible demand labels could be there, and we already know the probability of each of these demand labels. Now the vendor will purchase a stock ranging between 15 to 20. Either he will purchase 15 papers on a particular day, or 16 papers on a particular day, or 17 or 18 or 19 or 20, because this is the range of possible demand. The range varies from 15 papers to 20 papers on a particular day. So accordingly he will also decide to keep his stock ranging between 15 to 20. So for different combination of alternative, these are the alternatives. Either he will decide, these are the decision alternatives, whether he should purchase 15 or 16 or 17 newspapers on a day to sell in the market on the buses. So these are alternatives available to him. He can either purchase 20 newspapers to sell, or 19 newspapers to sell on the bus, or 18 newspapers to sell on the bus, or 17 newspapers to sell on the bus, or 16 newspapers to sell on the bus, or 15 newspapers to sell on the bus. So these are his possible alternatives. And we also know it is given in the question that these are the possible demand levels with their corresponding probability. So let us calculate the payoff. If suppose the vendor purchases 15 newspapers in a particular day, and on that day if the demand remains 15 newspaper, there is a demand of 15 newspaper, and he also has the stock of 15 newspaper, then he will be able to sell all his newspapers. So on one paper he is earning 15 paise, so on 15 papers he will be earning 225 paise. Similarly, if suppose he has a stock of 15 newspapers and there is a demand of 16 newspapers, so what will happen? He will be able to sell all his 15 newspapers, and one of the demand, there will still be demand of one newspaper, but he has exhausted his stock, so he will not be able to fulfill that demand, but he will not be having any unsold stock. So whatever he has in stock, he is able to sell, and on one newspaper sold, he is earning 15 paise. So if he is selling 15 newspapers, he will be earning 225 paise. Similarly, if there is a demand of 17 newspapers and he has a stock of 15 newspapers, he'll be able to sell all his 15 newspapers, and there will be still demand for two newspapers which he will not be able to fulfill, but still he has sold all his papers and he has made a profit of 225 paise. Similarly, in case the demand is 18 newspaper and he has the stock of 15 newspaper, again he will be able to sell all his newspaper, and be he will not be able to meet the demand of remaining three newspapers, fulfill the demand of remaining three newspapers, and still he is not going to suffer any loss because he has been able to sell all his stock, and he because on one newspaper he is earning 15 paise, so on all 15 newspapers which he has sold on that day, he will be able to earn 225 paise. Similarly, for 19 demand label, again he will be able to sell 15 newspapers, and 4 customers he will not be able to sell papers. So again there is no loss for the vendor. He has been able to recover all his money which he has invested in the stock. Here again he will be able to recover all his money which he has invested in the stock of 15 newspapers. There is, because there is demand of 20 newspapers, he will be able to sell all his 15 newspapers, and there will be 5 customers left who to whom he will not be able to sell anything. Then the second situation, when suppose he has purchased a stock of 16 newspapers and now he wants to sell it, and suppose the demand happens to be of 15 newspapers, then what will happen? He has 16 newspapers in stock, 15 he will be able to sell, whereas one newspaper will be left unsold, and that will be a dead loss. So on by selling 15 newspapers he had earned 225, and then out of this 225, the 25 paise, which is the cost price of one remaining newspaper, will be a dead loss. So from the earning of whatever he has earned, from that he will be losing 25 paise. So his total net conditional payoff is 200 paise. Now if suppose he has a stock of 16 uh, newspaper copies and there is a demand of 16 newspaper copies, he will be able to sell all 16 newspapers which he has in the stock. So on one newspaper he is earning 15 paise, so on 16 newspapers he will be earning 240 paise. Now again, if there is a demand of 17 newspaper and he has 16 newspapers in his stock, he will be able to sell all his 16 newspapers, and here he will not be able to give newspaper to one remaining customer. He has 16 newspapers, there are 17 customers, so 16 he will sell to 16 customers, and one of the customers will be left unsold. One customer he will not be able to fulfill the demand of that remaining one customer. Again, here in this case, there is no loss for the uh, vendor. He he is able to earn 240 paise as payoff. Similarly, when the demand is 18 newspaper and he has stock of 16 newspaper, again he'll be able to sell all his 16 newspapers. Two customers will be there who will not be able to get newspaper. Then in case there is demand of 19 and he has stock of 16, again here in this case his payoff is 240. Three customers are still remaining who did not get the newspaper, and here in this case he has stock of 16, demand is of 20, so four customers who did not get the newspaper. Then similarly for 17 stock level and 15 demand level, if he has 17 papers in stock and there is a demand for 15 newspapers in the market, what will happen? What will happen? He will be able to sell 15 out of these 17 and two will be left unsold. So this two unsold papers will be dead loss, and the cost of one paper is 25. So on two remaining papers he is going to lose 25 into 2, that means 50 paise. So he has earned 225 paise by selling 15 newspapers, and from that his loss is 50 paise. So 225 minus 50 is equal to 175. And then if there is a demand of 16 and he has a stock of 17, that means he will be able to sell 16 newspapers and one newspaper will be left unsold, and on that one he is losing 25 paise. So by selling the 16 newspapers at the profit of 15 paise, he is earning 240 paise, and out of this 240 paise he is losing 25 paise because of that one unsold newspaper. So his conditional payoff is 215 paise. And then if the demand is 17 and the stock is also 17, he'll be able to sell all 17 newspapers and his conditional payoff will be 255, which is product of 17 into 15. Then another case could be when the demand is 18 and he has stock level of 17. Here again he will be able to sell all his 17 newspapers and one customers will be left to whom he will not be able to sell anything. One customer will not get the newspaper, but there will be no loss for the vendor because he is able to sell all his stock and he'll be able to earn 255. His payoff will be 255 paise. Similarly, for other conditions we can calculate the payoff. So all the payoffs for all the combination of demand and stock levels can be calculated and they are listed here in the table. Now from this table we can locate the maximum payoff for a particular demand level, that is a particular state of nature. For a particular state of nature, what is the maximum payoff corresponding to that state of nature? So we can identify from this row for this state of nature. State of nature is the outcome or event. If suppose the demand remains 15 paise, what will be the maximum payoff for the newspaper vendor? So we can see from the table the maximum payoff is 225 rupees. So we have listed this maximum payoff in another column which we have added to the payoff table. Similarly, when the demand is 16, what is the maximum payoff table? We can easily locate it in the payoff table. The maximum value is 240. Then for the demand level of 17, the maximum payoff value is 255, and for the possible demand level of 18 newspapers the maximum payoff is 270. For the possible demand level of 19 newspapers the maximum payoff value is 285, and for the possible demand of 20 newspapers the maximum payoff is 300 rupees. So we have located all the maximum payoffs. Now Now we can construct the conditional opportunity loss table using the information of the payoff table. So from the previous payoff table, we have found the maximum payoff values for different states of nature. Now for calculating the conditional opportunity loss, what we will do is we will subtract the conditional payoff for a combination of state of nature and decision alternative from the maximum payoff of that state of nature. Like here in this case, the maximum payoff is 225, and here if we could recall from the previous table, this value, this conditional payoff value was 225. So we will subtract this 225 from the maximum payoff. So 225 minus 225 will be 0 here. Here 225 minus 200 will give us 25 here. 225 minus 175 will give us 50 here. 225 minus 150 will give us 75 here. 255 minus 225 minus 125 will give us 100 here, and 225 minus 100 will give us 125 here. So similarly here we can see 240 minus 225 is 15, 240 minus 240 is 0, 240 minus 215 is 25, 240 minus 190 is 50, 240 minus 165 is 75, and 240 minus 100 is 100. So likewise we can calculate all these values. This was the maximum payoff value, and here it was 225 in the previous table. So 225 minus 225 will give us 0. Here it was 200 in the previous table, so it gave us 25. This was from the previous table 175, so it gave us 50. So after we have constructed the conditional opportunity loss table, using these values in the table, we can further calculate the expected opportunity loss table, wherein we will be multiplying the probability to the different uh, opportunity loss values for different alternatives. And this, like here, 0.04 multiplied by 0 will give us 0, 0.04 multiplied by 25 will give us 1, 0.04 multiplied by 50 will give us 2, 0.04 multiplied by 75 will give us 3, 0.04 multiplied by 100 will give us 4, and 0.04 multiplied by 125 will give us 5. So likewise we can calculate all these expected opportunity loss values. So let's see. So here we have calculated the expected opportunity loss values for all the different states of nature. This I have just shown you from the previous table. Similarly, for this 0.19 multiplied by the conditional payoff values of the previous conditional opportunity loss values from the previous table by multiplying 0.9 to the opportunity loss value here from the previous table, like 0.19 multiplied by 15, 0.19 multiplied by 0, here this will be 0, and this 0.19 multiplied by 15 will give us 2.85. Like that we can calculate all the remaining values. And after we have calculated all the values, now we can find out the expected opportunity loss value for different alternatives. Like the first alternative was he can stock 15 newspapers. So if he has purchased a stock of 15 newspapers, his expected opportunity loss will be sum of all these expected opportunity loss values. So 0 plus 2.85 plus 9.90 plus 11.70 plus 6.60 plus 5.25 will give us 36.30. Similarly, 1 plus 0 plus 4.95 plus 7.80 plus 4.95 plus 4.20 will give us 22.90, and likewise all the values, expected opportunity loss values, can be calculated. Now in this expected opportunity loss, we our objective will be, as a decision maker, we would like to reduce our opportunity loss. So take we will choose the alternative which is leading to the minimum expected opportunity loss. So out of these all opportunity loss values, the minimum value is 17.10, which corresponds to the stock level of 17, this 17 decision alternative. So we will decide to the vendor will decide to purchase 17 newspapers so that he can increase his uh, he can maximize his expected profit or minimize his expected loss. So here the minimum expected opportunity loss is 7.10 paise, which corresponds to 17 newspapers in stock. Hence, by expected opportunity loss criteria, 17 newspapers is the optimal stock level. So this is how we calculate the expected opportunity loss value for different alternatives, and then we select the alternative which leads to minimum opportunity loss, and that is how we decide in the expected opportunity loss criteria of decision making under risk. Thank you.